The book consists of a prologue and 5 parts. The first, third and fifth sections are narrated in the first person by the protagonist, Hailward Munn. The second follows Hailward, but is written in the third person, while the prologue and fourth part center on Elizabeth Khan, also from the third person perspective. Hailward lives in a city called Earth, which is slowly being winched along at an average speed of 0.1 mile, (0, 16 kilometers), on 4 railroad tracks northward toward an ever-moving, mysterious optimum. The city, which Hailward estimates is 1,500 feet, 460 meter, long and no more than 200 feet, 61 meter, high, is not on the planet Earth. The sun is disc-shaped, with 2 spikes extending above and below its center. The city's inhabitants live in the hope of rescue from their lost homeworld. Upon reaching adulthood at the age of 650 miles, Hailward leaves the creche in which he has been raised and becomes an apprentice future surveyor. His guild surveys the land ahead, choosing the best route. The track guild tears up the track south of the city to relay in the north. Traction is responsible for moving the city, while the bridge builders overcome terrain obstacles. The barter guild recruits laborers, tooks, from the primitive, poverty-stricken nearby villages they pass, as well as women brought temporarily into the city to help combat the puzzling shortfall of female babies. The militia provides protection, armed with crossbows, against tooks resentful of the city's hard bargaining and the taking of their women. Only guildsmen, all male, have access to the outside world and are oath-bound to keep what they know a secret. In fact, most people do not even know the city moves. Hailward's wife Victoria becomes somewhat resentful when he is reluctant to answer questions about his work. The purpose and organization of the city is laid out in a document written by the founder, D'Estaing's directive, with entries dating from 1987 to 2023. Hailward reads it, but it does not satisfy his curiosity as to what the optimum is or why the city continually tries to reach it. When Hailward is assigned to escort 3 women back south to their village, he is astonished by what he learns about the alien nature of the world. As they go further south, the women's bodies become shorter and wider, and they begin to speak faster and in a higher pitch. The terrain itself becomes similarly squashed. Mountains now look like hills to Hailward. One woman has a male baby who, like Hailward, does not change shape. Most frightening of all, the guildsman feels an ever-growing force pulling him southward, abandoning the women, with whom he now cannot even communicate. He returns to the city. There he finds that time runs at a different rate in the south. In the city, several years have passed, during which the Tooks have attacked and killed many children, including Hailward's son. Victoria had given him up for lost and remarried. When Hailward goes to survey the land ahead, he discovers that time passes more quickly in the north. Udharan Chinna. While returning from a negotiation at a settlement, he is followed by Elizabeth Khan, herself a relative newcomer to the village. They talk for a while. When they meet again, she mentions she came from England several months before. He becomes excited, thinking that rescue is finally at hand. She is unable to convince him that they are on Earth. Intrigued, she replaces one of the village women and enters the city, which to her looks like no more than a misshapen office block. Once again, she encounters Hailward. Having learned about the city, she leaves to apprise her superiors and to do some research. 2 crises strike. After the Took attack, it was decided to educate the residents about their situation. This, however, had an unintended effect. Dissidents called the Terminators want to stop moving the city, and are willing to resort to sabotage to achieve their goal. Victoria is one of their leaders. A more imminent problem is a large, unavoidable body of water ahead with no opposite bank visible. Both dilemmas are resolved at a meeting. Elizabeth explains to the citizens their true situation. A global energy crisis. The crash had devastated civilization, a disaster from which the world is only gradually emerging. D'Estaing was a British particle physicist who had discovered a new way to generate power. But nobody took him seriously. The process required a natural component to work. D'Estaing found one such in China. The optimum. He went there to set up a test generator and was never heard of again. His invention has serious permanent and hereditary side effects, distorting people's perceptions. For example, the shape of the sun, and damaging their DNA so that fewer females are born. After nearly 2 centuries, the city has reached the coast of Portugal, with only the Atlantic Ocean ahead. Most of the residents are convinced. But to Elizabeth's disappointment, Hayward refuses to give up his beliefs.